All right, so I'm gonna go through who I see on screen, maybe, or no, you know what, I'm gonna get confused if I do that, so I'm going down the list. The phone number, 262 phone number,
547 is probably me, John Zignagle. Good afternoon.
Zignago. Hello, John. I see Ann Neshek is on from Arrow Creek. Hello, Ann.
Hello.
Jada Bigham is joining us from FHWA. Good afternoon.
Hi.
Brent Freeman at Kramer North America. Hello, how are you?
I'm well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone.
Thanks for being here. Brian Mitchell, hello at Michael's. And in whatever city is behind you there, that looks very metropolitan. Okay, Northeast region must be that Peshtigo room, and I think that's you, Scott Abel. Hello. And we'll put you first.
Oh, sorry, I just realized I was muted, but yeah, that was me.
Okay, great. Thank you for being here. Excuse me, Lori Green is our organizer. You see her in my corner there. And Michael Volker, thank you for being here. Interim Director of BPD. Joe Davis, hello, sir, at CBG.
Hello, how are you?
Good, thanks. Thanks for being here. Kyle Bell at Integrity. Hello.
Yep, I'm here.
I see, I'm gonna skip you, Scott, and come back. Matt Grove, WTBA, hello, thanks for being here.
Hello,
there.
afternoon.
Wherever you are. Paul Nadon on the DBE team, hello.
Good afternoon, all.
He said hello. Riley Ijoma is here also from the DBE team, hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Kathleen, hello, DBE
Good
team.
afternoon.
Rosalind, our DB Support Services Coordinator is here. Hello, Rosalind.
Hello.
Sarah Janice also at Integrity. Hello, Sarah.
Hello, good afternoon.
And Shannon at Lunda. Hello, Shannon.
Hi, everyone.
Thanks for being here. Natalia Vega is joining us as well. And then we'll come back and let Scott Lowry, our Deputy Administrator, get us off to a good start.
You ready for me, Madalena?
It's you.
Thanks, Madalena. I guess I don't have a whole lot to add. I'm looking at the agenda over here. I'm looking at the screen. It does look like we're gonna have some good updates here and some feedback, or I guess some information on things to come as well. So I guess I look forward to the discussion for today.
Great. Thank you, Scott. So with that, we'll go over to Scott Abel, who is going to give us an update on the I-41 project in Green Bay. I won't steal too much of your thunder, Scott, and let you really take it away and share these wonderful updates.
All right, I will try to stick to the 10 or 15 minutes here as well. Let me share my screen and all right. So here to talk about a small project we have up in Northeast Wisconsin, the I-41 project from Appleton to De Pere. I'll say apologize if some of you were on our WTBA or at our WTBA and DB outreach meeting about a month ago. This is largely cribbed from that, an abbreviated version, but so briefly talk about the project team. I won't spend a whole lot of time on that, and the project improvements and our schedule and kind of what's coming up on the schedule for the project. So the team is just, at the top, Northeast Region Director Tom Buchholz, Deputy Director Chad DeGrave, Project Development Manager Chief Kurt Peters, the project supervisor is Eric Witt. I'm the Design Corridor Project Manager, Kyle Tremmel, Brian Lurst, Tim Verhagen, and are the segment PMs, and Brian Lurst will also be the Construction Project Manager for I-41. Our for most of I-41, and Missy Cook is our communications manager for the project. So the I-41 project is going to expand 23 miles of I-41 from about Highway 96 in Grand Chute, City of Appleton area up to County Highway F for Shoring Road in De Pere, Town of Lawrence, moving from 4 lanes to 6 lanes. We'll also be constructing auxiliary lanes between most of the closely spaced interchanges along the corridor. We'll also be constructing a collector distributor system between the County E interchange and the Highway 441 system interchange. We'll also be making improvements to most of the interchanges that exist along the corridor. We'll be reconstructing the 3 southern interchanges as diverging diamond interchanges. This will be for Highway 15, Highway 47, and County Highway E or Ballard Road. We'll be reconstructing the system interchange with 441 into a higher speed flyover maneuver type interchange. We'll be making, I'll say, more select improvements at the 3 middle interchanges on the corridor at County Highway N, Highway 55, and County Highway J. These are, for the most part, newer interchanges, but we are still making some improvements both for operation and safety of traffic, operation of oversized, overweight vehicles, and just to kind of fix things up so that we don't end up with some dated pieces along the corridor that we're going to have to maintain. We'll also be constructing or reconstructing County Highway U and County Highway S interchanges to roundabout interchanges. And we'll be constructing a brand new interchange, which will also be a roundabout interchange up near Southbridge Road in the city of De Pere, Town of Lawrence area. This new interchange kind of coincides with the Brown County Southern Bridge Connector corridor that they're working on up in the county. We'll also be reconstructing most of the overpasses, not all, but most of the overpasses along the corridor: Capitol Drive, French Road, Holland Road, Vandenbroek Road, Buchanan Street, and Rose Hill Road. Most of these bridges over 41 are 60s vintage. They've got piers in the shoulders that need to get taken out of the way before we can really expand the main line of the highway underneath. And then there are a couple other adjacent pieces that are part of the project as a whole. We're going to be resurfacing or replacing the pavement at 3 of the park and ride lots along the corridor. We'll be constructing a new salt shed for Outagamie County to address the additional pavement area that's going to need to be maintained during the winter down there. And we'll also be constructing a combined safety and weight enforcement facility and Northeast Region State Patrol headquarters, replacing the existing weight enforcement facility that's just south of County Highway U. We are using this as an opportunity to co-locate those 2 facilities and replace the aging Fond du Lac post for the State Patrol Northeast region. The overall schedule for the project right now, we're in the middle of the design. That's going to continue. I'll say the lion's share of the design is going to be in the first 3 or 4 years, or the next 3 or 4 years of this, but we'll be continuing until we have that last LET project out the door. Real estate acquisition, outside of some early acquisitions that we were able to do during the environmental phase, that acquisition process is just starting this year. We've got about 300 parcels that we're going to be acquiring as part of the project. So that's going to be an ongoing task, again, through the individual LET projects. Utility relocations will also be starting up this year. We have 1078s out for some of our earliest bid packages already. We're starting to get work plans back on some of that earliest work. We expect some of that earliest relocation work to start by this fall. And then construction of the overall project is planned to begin next year in 24 and run roughly through 2030. I'll talk a little bit about how we see that plan for construction going right now. This is, you see that in the quarter schedule, subject to change. This is definitely a snapshot. This is a month old. I'm sure that there's even a thing or two in here that may not be quite up to date. But I'll point out where we're at today. So looking in 2024, we'll have some work going on at a lot of those overpass bridges and some of the interchanges that I mentioned before. One of our first packages is Highway 15 and 00 and the Capitol Drive overpass that we intend to let together for maintenance of traffic across 41 at those two closely spaced locations. And then the Rose Hill Road overpass is another one of our earliest pieces. These are scheduled to be let in February of 2024. And then later in 2024, we will be looking at working on additional overpass bridges. Again, some of this may change. We may flip in County N now, flip out one of these a little bit later. Still working on that. And then the County J interchange is another one of those earlier pieces. The J interchange, again, being one of those older bridges that we need to get out of the way. And then the SWEF, or Weight Enforcement Facility, is anticipated to start in 2024, as well as some early fill work at the South Bridge interchange, the new interchange on the project. 2025, we anticipate getting some work started on our main line with a section to the south at the southern end of the project, and then a section kind of in the middle of the project tied into the work that will be going on at the Weight Enforcement Facility and work at the County U interchange, getting that piece of main line done as well. And then starting work at some of our other interchanges, County E, County N, if we're not addressing it earlier, the other overpass, Buchanan Road. And then into 2026, starting work at some additional locations along main line, connecting some of the previously begun work, and working at the Highway 47 interchange, continuing work at the South Bridge interchange. With 2027 then starting to get into the work at along main line, at and through the Highway 441 system interchange, which is anticipated to be a very large section of work, an area that we're going to be in for 2 or 3 years at least. Also some work at the 55 interchange. And then a little further out, 2028, that last piece of main line to the north, and the County S interchange out in 2029. We do have some estimated contractor quantities that we've broken down for these years. Again, we'll continue to update this information as the design progresses. Just a couple, let's say, material labor procurement issues. We know we're going to have some materials that have, we've seen some issues or potential delay issues that we're aware of on the design side. In terms of electrical components, pull boxes, signal monopoles, signal equipment, monopoles. Going to be a lot of concrete as part of this project, things like that. Certainly, we know that we're going to be drawing a lot of contractor forces into the area with the project this large as well. And that is very much it. We have we try to do a lot of outreach on the project on Facebook and Twitter, and then we have our I-41 project website, which is where we try to have the latest and greatest on the project. And that is all that I had today.
Thanks, Scott.
Unless- Yep,
He's
and
gonna share some. Sorry?
Yep. Go, yeah,
I
go
want
ahead,
to,
Matt.
give people a chance to ask you some questions. I know you have to run, so I
Yep,
wanted
yep,
to do
no
that.
problem.
And Benji talk about the DB specific opportunities. So any questions for Scott? Roz has her hand up.
Yes, I would
Yes.
like to see that second to the last page so I can do a screenshot to the latest and greatest website.
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you.
It really is a really nicely designed website. I go there and get information, send that team my props often. It works really well. Good job there conveying that information. Anybody else? Questions for Scott? Lori, your hand is up.
I reached out to Scott to ask him for a copy of the slide so I can include it in the minutes.
Yep, I can send that
Sure.
along.
I think we might have links on our website too, so you could potentially grab that if it's already
Okay.
up.
All right.
Okay, well, thank you, Scott. We appreciate you making fun for us.
Madalena,
Yes, Joe?
this is Joe. Yeah. So I just got a question on the State Patrol facility. Will the Northeast region be managing that project, or will there be another contractor or someone else to oversee that project?
So Bureau of Highway Maintenance is doing the design for that facility. The current intent is that we will be managing that similar to the other core construction that's going to be taking place. So the intent would be that that's going to kind of fall under, you know, I mentioned Brian Lurst would be the project manager for construction. That would fall under his umbrella. We'll certainly have some, because of the type of site, we anticipate having some specialized consultant oversight assistance in that task, but it will fall under the overall I-41 corridor construction oversight.
Okay. And with the facility, with so much communication going in there, there was an electrical contractor that I had a discussion with yesterday that has been a DBE, but has not really been active on projects. I just wanted to make sure that the same type of process is being followed so that he can submit price quotes for utilization on that project. Will that still be the same on the State Patrol's facility?
In terms of the bid process?
Yes.
Yes, that will be the same. It will be another state bid project. There's the intent right now by Bureau of Highway Maintenance for that facility is to actually do it under two separate lettings.
Mhm.
There would be one that's predominantly focused on the vertical construction element. And then there would be a separate letting 6 months later that's more focused on the say the pavement or the surrounding pavement area and outside of the building site elements.
Okay. So my last question is that should I get him to some of your briefings so that he can have that discussion with you as far as the timelines are concerned? Because I'd really like for him to get engaged in this project prior, not waiting until the last minute.
Yeah, I can, certainly follow up with, if you're looking for information from that Bureau of Highway Maintenance team about the project.
And also
I can
and some of the public meetings that you have, I mean, those are informative because, I've been to
Absolutely. I would encourage, if you want to have him either go to the website or contact either me or Missy Cook directly, we can make sure that anyone gets added to the project distribution list. We have some, additional public involvement that we're planning to do this summer. Even we've set dates for our public information meetings later this year. There's definitely encourage them to get in touch with us and get their names added to the distribution list.
All right. Thanks, Scott, for that info. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Scott. Scott Lowry, did you change your mind or did you want to still say something?
No, Mr. Evil did a fabulous job and covered exactly what I was gonna say about the SWEP being built in two stages, one in the building, one in the roadway part. But I will
Nice.
reach out to Dave Sturts and have him get some information to you, Tandra and Madalena about that, just so you guys can feed that to this group, so they're aware of it as well.
Perfect. Thanks very much. Thank you, Scott, for being here.
Yep, thank you.
Benji, do you want to share those specific opportunities? And I think you are dealing also with the building,
Yes,
the SWEP.
the SWEP, yes. So we have a lot of great projects coming up for both roadways and bridges and overpasses and a lot of work in the outlying areas all along that corridor. So these are just a few of the DBE opportunities that are inherent to the project. I'm not going to read all of them. This is also going to come as part of a attachment, I think. Excuse me, but we have a lot of bridge work, a lot of rebar tying and supplying, electrical work that needs to be done, saw cutting, drainage and drainage ponds. There's, I think, 6 or 9 ponds that are gonna be built. So that's some great work that can be done. The concrete barriers, beam guard culverts, retaining walls. We have mainline improvements as well. You saw earlier with these areas are. So this just goes over there where the project improvements are for mainline, the interchanges and the overpasses. And then for SWIFT, we have electrical, roofing, drywall, poured foundations and floors, trucking, painting, plumbing and sewer, HVAC, landscaping, and lots of opportunities for material suppliers and manufacturers. And this is where it is, and I think I have a concept drawing of it, yeah, right there. So, and again, with everything is subject to change, so always make sure that you're staying tuned and check back the website often. And as we get closer to this, we're gonna be doing more outreach for both our vertical and horizontal builders and DBE firms. So if you have any questions, see what I can do. Otherwise, this will come as part of the meeting minutes.
Great, good. Thanks for that, Benji. Any questions? Not seeing raised hands. So everyone good? We will send out more information. Like Benji said, we'll keep working with the region as well. And getting the word out to CBEs and contractors about those opportunities. So with that, I want to bump us down and let David Castleberg and Paul talk about AWP. So that David can then move to his next engagement. We're also busy over here.
Right, let me,
So as David gets ready there, I will tell you what that acronym is. AASHTO-WARE project is the project that we use for most of our contracting at this time, and we're gonna have payments and payrolls in there, and it's going to replace CRCS at some point, but not yet. So, you know, David, maybe you could tell us where we're at and give an idea of where we're heading.
right, Paul and I didn't coordinate on this, and I didn't tell Paul that I put a small presentation together, so kind of give you an overall picture of updates to the AASHTO project system itself, and then just briefly on the CRL project and what's going on there. And Paul, you can chime in at the end if you got any other things that I didn't hit. So thank you for the opportunity to present this afternoon. Most of you are aware that the project, the application that we use to manage the life cycle of all of our projects from design to the bid letting and into construction is using the AASHTO-WARE system called AASHTO-WARE project. We've been licensing these applications basically, since about 1997. It was called something different back then, but we've transitioned over the year from a mainframe system to a client server version. And now we're rounding out, everything's moving to a web-based system. And what we've done here is we've implemented the pre-construction area, the construction portion, but we're in the process of implementing the materials portion of construction and materials, and also the civil rights and labor portion of the application itself. So I'm just going to kind of go through some updates for project itself. We do 2 annual upgrades to the system. Last fall in November, we upgraded to version 4.9. We're in the process 8, and we're in the process of upgrading to 4.9 right now. However, and we were supposed to go into production at the end of this week, but we found some critical issues, some of them related to bid letting reports, and so we've postponed that, and we may not get to an upgrade until possibly July of this year with a patch release of this, or if we can't get things resolved, we might have to wait until the 5.0 release in fall. And because of it, it is impacting some of our implementation projects for CRL and the materials on some of the things that we're, testing out and doing. So we might have to modify some of our schedules and things that we're going to do with that. When we do an upgrade, the system is unavailable to all the users during the upgrade, but it's typically for only a short time. We take something down like at 5 o'clock at night, and we typically, when we go move into production, we'll have it back to the users by noon the next day, typically. These product upgrades don't impact Astro project bids or data analytics. They run on a different system, a different platform. Everything that we run is off of a hosted platform that's hosted by Infotech, who is the vendor for Astro project, and it's hosted out there in the Amazon cloud. All right. In pre-construction, just some highlights and some of the updates. Pre-construction, the last few updates, there hasn't been any significant changes. But one of the things we want to do is try to do some training sessions for designers that are using the pre-construction system. We did some virtual training sessions for construction staff on the key components of the system a couple of years ago. And we wanted to try to do the same thing for on the pre-construction side. We haven't conducted any full, on-site user training in pre-construction for several years, and we feel that it's important to do so. We have a lot of good documentation. I'll talk about that later, but that's out there for users. But we haven't done any hands-on kind of training, and so we wanted to try to at least create some of these virtual sessions and put them out there. So we're hoping to do that maybe sometime later this year. Astro project bids. That is the application that the contractors use for doing all their bidding. And Deanna just told me that they will be upgrading to version 4.02 here for the July letting of this year. Data analytics, that is the platform that we use to do our bid analysis on. And Wisconsin has been participating in the development of this application, and it'll be replacing our older decision support system, or DSS. And it's going to go into full production here in September of this year. As far as our construction application, we've had this in production since November 2020. And the last couple updates, the 4.8 version, we did some updated reports, screen configurations on some of the major areas within construction. A lot of it was related to feedback from our users because we've been in production for a year. And so we got some feedback and we made some changes to make things better for them out in the field. One of the things that happened last year is that we have, and everybody's mostly probably familiar with our old legacy applications that we had, Field Manager, CAS, and FieldNet that our field staff are using. We had a number of contracts that were still in the legacy system. We were basically forced to take them off of those systems. We wanted to finish them out and not have to migrate contracts, because it was a large effort to do it. But the servers were providing a security risk, and DET wanted us to get it off the system. So we took an effort last summer to migrate about 60 contracts off of the old Field Manager and CAS system. That put a hit on some of our implementation projects, CRL, and had to kind of take a back seat because myself and my staff were involved with that. So we wanted to get to some of the pilot projects for CRL even last summer. We were hoping to, but we kind of had to take a back seat to that. So we're getting back into that. And as my next point there, we're hoping to get these pilot projects for payroll and payments going here yet this summer. One of the other things that needs to be replaced out of the CRCS system is where the contractors will go in and register. And we have to create a new vendor registration system. And we started a project here a couple of months ago, and we're in development, working with Infotech, the product developer, to put that in place. And it'll probably be out the end of this year or to the beginning of next year, depending on how we go. Although we just recently kind of added, some other things to add some DDE certification functionality to it to help with that, the DDE certification process. So we're just kind of putting the requirements together for that, and we'll see how that might impact the scope and the schedule for that. I just want to highlight one of the features that the contractors will get involved with. Any of the contractors that may already be working with the state of Minnesota would be familiar with this spreadsheet, because Minnesota has already been using this process for after a project for several years now. And this is the payroll spreadsheet. Contractors will come here and fill out their payroll information on a weekly basis. And then they'll use a conversion program that'll convert it to like an HTML type document that is then imported into Ashford Project for final processing. So just an example of what will be to come. And this is some of what we'll want to try to work with the contractors that we have identified to help us with these pilot projects this summer. The AWP, the materials, again, work is progressing and we're hoping to have some potential pilots in 2025. They're going to kind of do some shadow boxing projects with it this summer to try to get things in place. Moving on to our Ashford Knowledge Base site. This is our website where we have all our documentation posted. It's a great resource because if you need training and need information about Ashford Project, this is where you've got to go. Annette Cernesky, who's on my staff, she has put together all this documentation on this particular website. And we have it every time we have an update to the product, we do a summarize changes in there. And users who want to have access to Ashford Project, we have an area on there for requesting accounts. Here's the URL to that particular site. And if you do need to get access, need to get an account, you just need to go to the account request renewal approval process page. And we've recently updated that. It used to be an email process where the user would submit a list of information. We've created a survey, an online survey that you complete. So that'll make it more consistent, and it's already speeded up our processing time to get the information back and to get you an account. We currently have accounts for pre-construction, for the designers, the doing the engineering estimates, and for all the different roles that you have in construction. Because in construction, we do have contractor roles for prime contractors at this point. Once we get the payrolls portioned in for CRL, then we'll also be adding contractor roles for subcontractors as well. And I think that's my last slide. So, yep. Paul, do you have anything you want to add? I guess I did have one slide. That's just contact information. So we have our support mailbox. If you got questions, AWP support. Myself and my staff, we monitor that on a daily basis, and we just kind of we pass off, depending upon who's the expert in one particular area. We'll take those requests there, and you can have access. If you're on a page on the AWP website, looking at a piece of documentation and you got a question about it, there's always a link at the bottom of the page to create an email, and then you can send it to our staff. Or some of us already, a lot of people have worked directly with Annette and Adam, who are on my staff. Certainly you can do that. And there's my contact information as well. So, Paul?
Oh, yeah. So nothing different. You actually hit all the points I was looking to speak on with CRL as well, including vendor registration, our DB processes going and moving into an online format. So, yeah. So.
And I don't think the DB certification application will delay vendor registration. Right?
No, I don't think so.
No, no, it won't.
Yeah. And just for anybody who's not completely familiar with how payments and payroll works for WSDOT, when that happens in CRCS and certified payroll is logged there, or payments are accepted there, that affects all contractors. So while it's coming through the CRL portion and it's OBOC related in that sense, it really is for all contractors that are working with us. So if you get paid by WSDOT, you want to know what's going on with AWP, and if you pay people, you want to know. So, so we want to keep you updated as we're moving forward, because we do hope that we get into that pilot this spring-ish, summer. I guess spring is maybe not, but summer. With 10 firms, I think Paul had identified. And so then we can start that pilot, get feedback with those contractors in payroll, I think we start with, then come back with payments later.
Right.
Okay. So we'll keep you up to date. Thank you, David and Paul. Any questions for these two?
I was going to say too, that as far as the roles and having access to roles, I mean, we do have a read-only construction role for department staff. If they, you may not have a specific need to be in there right now, but we have a read-only role in pre-construction and in construction, in construction. So if you kind of want to get a look and the feel of what's going on, and you have a need, you can request that read-only construction or read-only pre-construction role.
Good, thank you. Well, thank you for being here.
Yep.
And if it's okay, we can make those slides available or else link to some other information. Okay, great, thank you.
I'll send those to you.
That sounds good. So Kathleen, since I see you on the phone, on the screen there, do you feel like you wanna, bump the GFE part up into letting updates? Because really you do talk about the number of, projects and lettings, et cetera, too. And then Riley and I can weigh in if we need to, or if anybody has questions for Riley specifically. Okay, then we'll come back to you guys. All right, great. Thanks, David.
Yeah. That's fire to take care of, so.
Okay, thank you. All right, Kathleen.
Okay. Let me just get to my screen here. Okay, so this report that we're looking at, this is a report that I put together that documents and tracks GFE data. And I do have some letting information here in this first table that we're looking at. And right now, up and through the May 2023 letting, and I'll even say June because there is no letting in June, there were 219 proposals with federal funds. However, 7 proposals have been rejected and there were 2 withdrawn. So that gives a total of 210 total proposals with federal funds that had an assigned DBE goal attached to it. With that, we had 646 bids submitted, and of those 646 bids, we had 5 bids that were non-responsive. You can see here that they occurred earlier in the federal fiscal year of back in November and December. Overall, we through the federal 2023 fiscal year, we have 7 approved GFE requests. And as you can see here with this graph that reflects fiscal year 21, 22, and 23, that is a significant drop and decrease. The percentage decrease taking into account May of last year, the federal fiscal year, we had 41 GFE requests at the same time. We're sitting at 7 right now, so that is about an 83% decrease in GFE requests, which is great. And also, I have some region data here that we can take a look at. Right now, the North Central and the Northwest still have 0 GFE requests. And if we take a look at federal fiscal year 2022, looking at this, and this is through, this is a full fiscal year, but there were 5 GFE requests in the North Central region and 13 in the Northwestern region. So that's a total of 18 GFE requests. And right now we have 0 in both of those regions. So I think that's very significant and just, really great to see also. Northeast region is the region that has 4 GFE requests. They have, currently have the most at this point in time, and that is, I believe, 32 awarded projects. Southeast region has 1 with 47 awarded projects, and Southwest has 2 with 62 awarded projects. And Southeast or Southwest region also really is doing great. Just as far as GFE requests are concerned. Last year, federal fiscal year 2022, they had 15 GFE requests, and right now they only have 2. And then the assigned DBE goal average versus achieved, again, this is only on awarded projects. All regions are exceeding the assigned DBE goal, which correlates to the low percentage of, or the low amount of actual GFE requests. So really overall, just really, great progress as far as GFE requests are concerned. I know that there's a lot that goes into that. It's a lot of hard work with the prime contractor community, some lower project goals, which helps, but also we are seeing consistently, even in non-low bids, fewer GFE requests overall. So all good.
Fine. Thank you, Kathleen. And do we have any questions for Kathleen? No? Okay, thank you. I don't get sick of hearing your report. Each
Yeah.
time.
Well, that's
So
good. Absolutely.
I know we've had some questions on the confidential bid pilot. Are there more of those projects coming up, Riley?
There's no more in the pilot.
Okay, I wasn't sure if we had hit the 10 or.
Yeah, May was the last one. We actually pulled confidentiality off of one in May, a total of 9.
Okay. Okay, so that's done, the pilot. And then are we going, what happens then? Do we do something with the results?
Scott can weigh in, but I believe we're gonna meet soon and kind of research how things came out and see if there's other options to do it again or look at other.
Okay. All right, well, that could be a question again as we move forward that we may get in terms of what did we find out and what we're gonna do. So I don't have any other specific letting updates. I figured that Kathleen would probably cover it. And so we are happy though to see the non-responsiveness also go down. That's a good trend as well. Any questions for Riley, Kathleen, or me? No? Okay, well then why don't we go over to Benji and Maria? We could do our attainment update overall. So we can see where we are trending towards meeting our overall annual goal.
Thank you. So as Kathleen said, we really do have a great track record going here with very minimal GFEs. The numbers that you're going to see here are the construction and consultant dollars. The construction goes through May of this month, so it does include the last bid. And the consultant only goes through the end of April. So as you can see here, our overall federal funding and DDE attainment, right now we have roughly $807 million in construction and consultant fed funds. Our for our DDE commitments on the consultant side, we have 15.9 million. DDE commitments on the construction side, we have roughly 90 million. For a total consultant and construction commitment, $105.9 million. So our overall DDE attainment is right around 13.07, 13.13. Please note that this is subject to change monthly as we're doing our updates. And right now, those numbers do include the modifications that are through May 5th of this month of about $11.5 million in after contract execution commitments. And with that, I'm going to let Maria take over and give you some more information on that.
Yeah, like she said, we have during construction total modification of 11.5 millions, and those came from 779 requests that end up on modifications. 422 we have been approved already, and they were 12.6 millions in additions and 1.2 millions in reductions. So we really feel like the plans have been doing a really great job during construction, and we appreciate that. And we still have more documents waiting for, but we are really thankful for your collaboration. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you both. That after contract execution number there, that 11 million is really important because that is a way that we see neutral participation or participation in which we're not doing something active to try to get it right. We didn't put a goal once the contract was executed, and the contractors continue to work with DBE firms, and that's what we want to see continue to build, and that we get more and more in the direction where our goals are lower and lower, and we see that DBE utilization still maintains its robust trajectory. So anybody who might not be quite familiar with what we're talking about there, what are the modifications? So yes, we might add, we might subtract, but overall you see here that, and this is just the first 6 months, you know, that the 12 million in additions is really considerable, particularly when you realize that that is before we're even getting into the construction season where everything's gonna pick up, and then we will be using EVs even more. So just, that was one more note there. So thank you, my engineers. Any questions for Benji or Maria? Okay. Are you guys, did you guys like all put it on?
Catalina, this is Brad.
and-
Catalina, this is Brad with Huffman.
Sorry, I'm sorry, who's calling out?
This is Brad from Huffman Construction.
Oh, Brad, hi. I didn't see you before. Hello.
Hi. So with these additions that you're seeing, how is that going to affect your goal setting for the next fiscal year?
For the overall triennial or at the contract level?
Contract level, for like you assign a percentage that you put on jobs, and then
Right.
to get to your goal, and then once you hit your goal, you maybe will, for the last month of a fiscal year, you might back off on those because you've already hit it. So how are you going to apply those overages that you're seeing to your percentages that you're going to bid with going forward? Are you going to lower them?
Right, well, so we have been. So after we had our first year, we needed to get some data because this was, you know, the last couple of years, we're going into the third year of actually collecting the after contract execution dollars. So we didn't know what was out there, really. We could see some things happening in CRCS, but there wasn't a big push to collect this and make sure that this would keep happening. So what we ended up doing after the first year, first full year where we collected 21 million, I want to say, in after contract execution, we thought, okay, so this is giving us a pretty good idea. Let's start to set goals a little bit lower as we're moving forward into the next federal fiscal year, which would have been last year, 2022. And so then in 2022, when we had 29 million, we definitely realized, okay, this is something that we can start adjusting our goals that are assigned and count on having after contract execution dollars. So that's a big reason why you will see the lower goals right now as part of the lettings. So 1% in many places, 2%. In Southeast region, where we know we are going to be able to get more DDEs based on the types of work they do and geographic location, those goals will still be a little bit more robust, but they have even come down because the regulation does guide us towards getting participation as much as possible by neutral means. So where we haven't set a goal. So yes, we come down in the goal, and in some cases last year, we even had some projects with federal funding last month or two where we didn't place a goal because we knew we were going to achieve our overall goal. Once we know that, then we have to stop setting goals. But as anyone can attest here on my team, the numbers of the federal funding amount keeps moving as you lead into the point where it's locked in. And then, you know, at that point, but we're setting goals, you know, 6 weeks, 2 months out from when when that letting is actually going to happen. So we're trying to estimate, you know, based on what's going to happen in consulting, what's going to happen in construction, what's going to happen after contract execution, and make up our best guess based on the data that we have historically, and then taking into account factors like when a DBE leaves, right? So in consulting, for instance, both JDT and KL have left the DBE program. So we know that achievement is likely going to be lower than it was before, and that factors in towards our overall goal. So that might be a longer answer than you're looking for, but there are all these factors that sort of combine into us, yes, absolutely, having lower upfront goals or none at all, when we are gonna achieve that overall goal. Good, are you still there?
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, anyone else that joined that I missed? I'm looking here quickly. Okay. I'm gonna do, I think I'll do, the goal methodology now. All right, so no questions for any of us before I, share briefly some overall goal setting methodology. I'm gonna trust you all to raise a hand or put something in the chat for me. Okay. So, let me get to the slide. You all know what the DBE program is. So essentially I go out and I will present this information to a number of groups. But since you already know what the DBE program is, I won't tell you what that is now, but essentially a good place to start is that in setting this overall triennial goal, which if you are new here, this goal will guide us for the next 3 years, beginning in federal fiscal year 24. So 24, 25, 26, we are going to have that goal. Currently, we have a 12.41%. And so in the last 2 years of our current triennial, with federal funds of 906 million and a little over $1 billion here, combined consulting and construction, we did end up at 14.57, 13.75 will be somewhere around 13% with this coming year. I'm just going to say I think we'll hit the goal again, but it'll be lower. It is hard for us to maintain the same sort of participation with the increased amount of funds with the same amount of firms. So that's why you'll see that percentage fluctuate. Did I go backwards? I guess I did. So in setting the overall annual goal, we have a process that is explained to us in the regulation, and then there are tips in which there are several steps for us to come up with that overall annual goal that will be accurate based on the amount of DBEs in our directory. We look at a few other sources. So we're looking at the DBE directory, we're looking at CRCS, Civil Rights and Compliance System, consultant roster, and then we also look at Wisconsin Supplier Diversity Network. That is a certification arm of DOA for MBE and WBE firms that we do look at in the correct NAICS codes who are not already certified firms, certified DBEs, and we will count them as a potential consideration as DBEs. While the regulation or the tips in any case ask us to cast a very wide net of any firm that has the potential to be a DBE, including in all the surrounding states, we do narrow that down to say, we're going to look at the firms that are registered as DBEs. We're going to look at Wisconsin Supplier Diversity Network. And we are going to, while we look at all other firms with a 5-year earning. So if you've worked with WISDOT in the last 5 years as a DBE or a non-DBE, we consider that you are interested in doing work. So we're going to include those numbers as we are coming up with our overall projected percentage amount. But in the case of DBEs, we will also count you if you are just on the directory and in the right work type. So we end up narrowing that down to a certain number of DBEs in each of the work categories that we've outlined as part of our projects, and then the corresponding non-DBE contractors and consultants, and we come up with a percentage. And so that percentage is what becomes the overall annual goal. You've heard it called RWA, ready, willing, able. You might hear base figure. That's what we come up with in step one. And then the rest of the steps are the ways that we might make some adjustments. So we might adjust that base figure, 12.41%, right? That's what we have right now. We might adjust that if that came out as our base figure. We might say, well, our past participation, including decertification, would give us reason to adjust this goal up or down. The project work types that are coming up, how similar are those to the project and work types that we had in the past triennial? That's going to affect how we set the goal moving forward. That might be an adjustment to our base figure. We're also then going to make sure that we assign, we figure out the amount of the goal that's going to be assigned versus achieved through neutral means, right? So how much I'm going to put as a goal, it's 8.14 maybe right now. And then 4.27 as neutral, something like that. And then that moves through how we set the goals and how we track them. Again, here we would look at past participation. We look at DBE's ability to prime. We see quite a lot of priming on the consultant side. We'd like to see more on the construction side and looking to get more feedback from DBEs as well. Who wants to prime, right? And Nishek's on the call. Do you want to prime? If not, why not? You know, what kind of resources do you need? So we're going to be looking into that more, but that's a factor here in this assigning neutral and looking at how we do after contract execution, which was what I spent a bit talking about in those last slides, after contract execution dollars. So then we are always looking at public participation. The requirement is really to do this at the end when we're all done. We try to do this kind of all the way through the process so that we can also get any feedback from you all on what we should be considering as we are setting this goal. Then we will have that goal available for about a 30-day period to get some comments from public on the actual goal. And depending on what that feedback is, we'll make adjustments as needed. So that's sort of the way we are approaching this goal, the way we approached it last time. This will get replaced once we do have our next goal, but I just wanted to show you that, you know, essentially what we do is give a comparison. Here's what it was. And here's what we're saying it's going to be. And this is a really helpful slide at that point to get feedback on. So what we need from you is any information that you want to submit to us that would relate to effects of past discrimination in Wisconsin, particularly in heavy highway opportunities and contracting. Any feedback you think is relevant to our overall goal setting. And then specifically here, if you have knowledge of past discrimination in public contracting, private contracting, credit, bonding, insurance, any of those areas that we want to be able to take into account as we're determining how resources need to be developed and where we need to put more of our efforts. We can put at least this last slide, Lori, in because I want to make sure that people have this information to right now. There is a really simple survey that you go online and you fill out your comments and leave your name if you want to get a comment back or if you want to us to talk to you. So that's where we're at. We're in this process. We will have our first draft towards the end of this month. We'll go through discussion internally and then be looking to get feedback in June. Okay, so I think I can stop sharing. Any questions from anyone on this overall triennial goal setting? Okay, well then, it is everyone's favorite time because I'm going around now. We're going to ask you all for comments, questions. So why don't we start with Anne Nisha, you're at the top of my list.
I don't have anything. I just heard you say, maybe we'd want to be a prime contractor. The reason we're not is there's just so much paperwork with environmental and everything. I don't think we could on a big job. We'd crash and burn, I'm afraid.
Yeah, well, I'm interested in talking with you more about that too, so I'll reach out to you separately.
Sounds good.
Thank you for that. Jada at Federal Highways, what do you have to share with us?
Hey, Madalena. Been listening in to both presentations. Really happy to see the good faith efforts numbers. So far, so good on the DBE goal methodology. I am looking to start building my report. So hopefully we can kind of get maybe something soon on this side as well, as it pertains to the report. But yeah, that's pretty much all for my updates. Thank you.
Thanks. Brad Hoffman, anything else you want to add?
Nope, I'm good.
Okay, thank you. Brent, anything you would like to add? Questions, comments?
No, nothing for me, Madalena. Thank you.
Thanks for being here. And that bridge you guys are working on is not too far from my house, and we need to get another design build update here, and maybe you want to participate in the next time that we do that with Ben.
Oh, come on out. You let me know when you want a tour.
Okay, and then I'll do that. Thanks. Brian Mitchell at Michael's, what do you have for us?
Always interested in the computations of the ready, willing, and able. And so I thank you for the presentation and the goal setting process.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. We're going to be sharing what the actual breakdown is soon. Lori, anything that you'd like to add?
No, nothing I'd like to add. Good meeting.
Benji?
No, I'm good.
Good. Michael Holker? Anything from Bureau of Project Development?
I have nothing else to add.
Okay, thanks for being here. Joe Davis, CBG. Anything, Joe?
No, I'm just looking forward to, building a relationship like we always have. And am I on the agenda to actually present or just give an update on what CBG does, or is this the appropriate time?
Yeah, well, so we've listed CBG and the industry issues check-in and open agenda as an actual representative group that we make sure to give a voice to. And then I sort of informalize it and go down through the entire group of attendees. So do you want to share something from CBG right now?
Absolutely. Just real quick. This morning I got up and I got a call from Larry Whitaker from Kramer, that's working with Kramer Construction over on the bridge in Lower Rock, WD3 Associates. His first delivery of a $500,000 contract went well, and I'm glad to see that the DBE, Larry was having a great conversation with Jake over at Kramer. Took some photos. We'll upload that onto our LinkedIn page just to give Kramer some kudos and Larry some encouragement for continuing to submit those price quotes. CBG is presented before the Potawatomi Executive Council next week on Tuesday. Nice. We're going to be really talking about Potawatomi funding some of the contractors that are coming off the reservation, specifically, as you know, with some of the CDFI funding, and Potawatomi will be visiting the training facility, the operating engineers training facility up in Coloma next week. Well, not in next week, but we're going to set that up as a follow-up. So excited about that. As you know, we're working with you guys, specifically Madalena, creating what we consider the two things. WTBA, Matt, kudos to you, and Infotech. We're bringing Infotech here for training on Bid Express. That's gonna be on the 27th, and if Paul or Matt want to chime in on that, they've been good partners, so we're in the process of actually securing that. And then the last thing that we're doing is, as you know, Madalena, you and I are planning for the mid-conference, DBE, to follow up to the DBE Roundtable 2.0, so we can continue to build capacity in DBEs from our standpoint and continue to work with WSDOT to make that happen. So thanks for that opportunity, and let's keep it going. You guys are killing it though, regarding the good faith efforts. I'm glad to see that contractors, I knew that once, folks would be able to sit down and talk about why this is important. I'm glad to see prime contractors are just, coming in and just taking care of business. So those are good statistics. So kudos to WSDOT
Yes.
and WTBA.
Great, thanks for those updates, Joe, and maybe at our next meeting, we'll be able to share hold the date for our DBE Roundtable 3.0.
Sure.
So are there any dates for that?
Yes, but we're working on one other detail, so I just want to hold until,
Okay.
But we will do that in the fall.
Okay.
So November, let's say it's November, and yeah, we'll get firm dates to you. Thank you, Joe. Kyle at Integrity, anything you would like to add?
No, I'm good.
Okay, thanks for being here. Macro at WTBA, do you have any messages for us from your members?
Believe it or not, I have nothing, Madalena, for you.
Wow.
So, the only question, did you cover the commitment form yet? I had to step away.
Attachment A, are you saying?
No, the Yummy report. Where are we at as
Oh,
far as?
yes, we did.
Oh,
cover
sorry, I
that.
had to step away for a
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Oh, okay, yeah, we're on track. We're around 13% right now overall with construction with about 700 million in. 240-ish million to go or something. Yeah, so we're trending okay there. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody realizes that there is no June letting.
Yes,
And,
we did tell that too. Oh, you
so-
missed this is really a nice part, Matt. We're gonna have.
So,
GFE and all the like kudos going out to everybody making it work. Okay. All right. Well, if you think of anything that you do want to add, we still do have a little time as we go through the rest of this list. Okay, Paul Nadal, anything to add or any questions?
No, not right now. We kind of hit everything, and like we say, kudos to everyone. We're doing a great job, and let's just keep it going.
Good. Thanks, Paul. Riley, anything to add?
I don't have anything to add, no.
Okay, you're welcome. Ijoma, would you like to share anything?
Nothing for now, thank you.
Okay, Kathleen?
Nope, no further updates.
Okay, thank you. Rosalind, I trust you would have raised your hand and asked or said something, but I want to give you one more chance.
I'm sorry, annual event 2024, we have the dates, February 28th and 29th at the Glacier Canyon Lodge, same place.
That's right.
We're working on our
Okay.
save the date.
Nice, thank you. Sarah, anything you'd like to add?
Nope, nothing on my end, thank you.
Okay, thanks for being here. And Shannon, your final
Good over
words.
here.
Pardon me?
I said, we're good over here. We don't have anything to add.
Okay, you have friends in there with you?
Yeah, I have all of my assistant just walked out. I make him attend these too.
Oh, that's good, that's good, all right, it's good to get the word out, all right. Natalia Vega, anything you would like to add?
No, thank you.
Somehow I skipped Tandra, oh, because you're not on that list. Tandra, would you like to add anything?
Just to say thank you everyone for coming and also to thank the team and all the presenters today. information was very helpful, and we continue to be very proud that we're at the meeting the goal, and GFEs are down, and it's great. Thank you.
It is, yes. And I want to, I don't know if anybody on the call is a member of NAMAC who might want to share any NAMAC news. Any NAMAC attendees?
John Dropoff.
John Zignago. Oh, John Zignago. He knows. He's shy. He's like, I don't want Madalena to call on me. I don't know. Sometimes he gets the computer to work. Not all the time. Okay, so with that, I think maybe is Scott Lowry still here? Maybe he had to leave too. Well, then I guess maybe I'm your final word, everybody. So thanks for attending. Our next meeting is in July, so go forth and enjoy summer. And we'll get back here again in a couple months. Thank you.